Hey everyone, I've been playing VGC for a few years now, which is always weird when I think about it. I remember at EUIC this year, someone asked me how many tournaments I had played in, and once I answered, they called me experienced. Don't feel experienced, I still feel like kind of a novice. Regardless, over my apparently long time playing, I have of course played many battles against many different opponents, and most of them have been lovely experiences. I wouldn't be competing if I didn't love the game after all. However, sometimes, whether it's due to the intensity of the match, the stakes of it, or just how close I was to winning or losing, it can get really stressful playing this game, which is what I want to talk about today. Specifically, the most stressful VGC match of my life.
Of your life so far.
When and where did such a match take place, you might be wondering? Well, it was at the 2024 European International Championships in London. At the tournament, I placed 81st with an 8 wins, 7 losses record, making day 2 a wonderful placement for my second ever international championships. And yeah, if you do the math, I did lose all my day 2 matches, except for one, which was a bye. But hey, still went positive, so I'm not going to complain about it. It's my best showing at a tournament so far, and my goal to beat next year. As you can tell, considering I lost most of my matches, day 2 was quite stressful for me, with all the pressure of facing my first ever day 2 at an event, but none of the matches even come close to my most stressful one, that being my round 9 match of this tournament. It was my winning into day 2, which by itself is already quite the stressful situation for most trainers. It's their last chance to make day 2 after all at such a big event. However, my round 9 had some further twists, we'll say, that easily made it the most stressful VGC match of my life.
Of your life so far.
That's because it went to
Sudden death.
dun dun dun. Yeah, this is something all VGC players should rightfully fear. So, let's go over my team and the situation that led me here. For the event, I was using a Pelipper Archaladon Rain duo. Before Regulation G hit and Zamazenta teams became my VGC obsession for many a tournament, I was on a binge of Rain teams in Scarlet and Violet. Heck, I even brought a Quaquaval Rain team to the prior EUIC. Joining along for my Pelipper obsession was of course the Chien-Pao and Entei Extreme Speed combo. I also had other great team members such as Fluttermane and Ogerpon Teal Mask. I really liked this team I made. The Ogerpon Entei lead was immune to Fake Out and scared off Intimidate with their Inner Focus and Defiant abilities alongside Ogerpon's Covert Cloak. Either one of them was great alongside Chien-Pao and its Sword of Ruin ability, who could also pick up surprise KOs by itself thanks to the Lifeform. Other neat parts to the team was of course, as I mentioned, the Terranormal Extreme Speed spam. Even with Farigiraf's prevalence, you had to respect it. My Ogerpon being Teal Mask was a unique choice for the time, but I loved it as its Terra gave it a speed boost, allowing it to outspeed and to get the one-hit knockout on Scarf Urshifu Water, or the mere threat of it forced an Urshifu to Terra or switch out. This team wasn't reliant on Pelipper's Rain like some of my other teams in the past, but it was great to help Archaladon get off Electro Shots to boost up and sweep, or could be used more defensively for my Fire-weak Pokemon, Chien-Pao and Ogerpon. Pelipper, of course, also further supported with the moves Tailwind and Wide Guard. Now, for the match itself. As I said, it was round 9, and I was 6-2 after a loss in round 8. This was my last chance to make day 2 of this EUIC. My opponent's team included Urshifu Single Strike, Tornadus, Ogerpon Half Flame, Ursaluna Blood Moon, Iron Hands, and Farigiraf. Now, I'm a little fuzzy on the earlier details of these matches, because this is before I started taking notes, but from what I remember, I managed to win game 1 pretty confidently, and crucially, I did not bring Archaladon to the first game. For game 2, this meant when I led straight into Pelipper and Archaladon, I was confident that I had caught them off guard, and I was poised to take quick KOs. Then, disaster struck. Before any Pokemon's moves could land, I hear the worst sound possible. A switch error noise. We had a game disconnect. This was a first for both me and my opponent. So after consulting with a judge, it was ruled a tie since no trainer had a KO advantage. If I didn't win the next match, we'd go into sudden death. I was frazzled and nervous. It's hard not to be when experiencing your first game disconnect, and at such an important moment too. For the next match, I struggled to decide my lead. Worried that they would predict and counter, I was overthinking it. I ended up leading poorly. With this and my mindset being bad, I ended up losing that match pretty swiftly. The sudden death was here. As we were setting up for the sudden death, it's clear to me that my opponent is just as nervous as I am. I mean, it'd be weird not to be, right? For those unfamiliar with sudden death in Pokemon VGC, like I was, I can sum it up quickly here. Basically, you start a new match, and at the end of each turn, you check if you have more Pokemon than your opponent. If you do, you win and you take the set. Yeah, it's very brutal. At least I can take some solace in knowing that hyper-offensive teams like mine shine in such a situation. But with Urshifu on their side, it wasn't going to be easy. So, what was the plan my stress-filled mind put together with what little time I had? Well, wasn't really much of a plan. I realised that everything could hinge on a single turn of this game, so me overthinking it wouldn't help. I decided to play this as brutally straightforward as possible, even if it was to my detriment. I led with Chen Pao and Entei against their Tornadus and Urshifu. I quickly locked in Terra Normal Extreme Speed and Sucker Punch into the Urshifu slot, before my nerves talked me out of it. On paper, if I'm looking to score a KO quickly, this is the best way to do it. But in practice, this is absolutely batshit insane. One switch into Frigoroth here, and my entire turn is wasted. That would lose me the sudden death on the spot. It's such a blatantly obvious, aggressive, and risky play with what I led. Something I know they can directly counter. Truly a stupid idea. And I'm sure they think the same. But if they do commit to the counter, and I don't use the crazy idea of double priority moves, there's a high chance I take a Pokemon here alongside them, and the game would continue. That's more to think about, and more to stress about. So, to boil down my ramblings, I'm basically betting the rest of my tournament run at one of the biggest tournaments of the year on whether or not they think I'm crazy enough to try this, and that they brought the Goofy Giraffe to counter. The entire time I'm waiting for them to select their moves felt like an eternity. I'm honestly quite an anxious guy, so I was stopping myself from shaking too much, hoping not to give anything away. But finally, the turn began to play out. And crucially, Frigoroth didn't switch in. I don't remember any moves or terrors from their side, but it didn't matter. Terra Normal Extreme Speed went into the Urshifu, dealing almost all of its HP in one go, just to be followed up with the Life Orb Sucker Punch to do the last remaining chip damage from Chen Pao. Urshifu went down, and Tornadus didn't pick up a KO. I won the sudden death in just the one turn. Thank Arceus that didn't go on for another turn. I do not think I could take any more of it. With that, I got onto day 2, which honestly still feels incredible. It was one of my first major goals I set out to complete. I hope to do it again soon sometime. Winning in sudden death, as I have kept on saying, was stressful. Too stressful. It doesn't feel great. Obviously, there were so many ways for my player to go wrong. They always had the choice to double protect, looking back on it, which would allow them to read my plays. Things could have gone differently, which I guess could always happen, but you know what I mean. I was too worried to think clearly and calmly, and gambled, getting lucky. Sometimes that's how it goes in Pokemon VGC, but I need to put myself in better positions, even when faced with sudden death or a crazy game disconnect. In the end, sometimes you do need to play to your outs, even if they're really crazy ones. But yeah, that's the story of my most stressful VGC match of my life.
Of your life so far.
Where I qualified for day 2 at an international championship, just to get completely trashed on that second day. I hope to qualify for day 2 in less stressful ways in the future. I don't think any match will top this one's stress levels until I get a deeper run in a tournament though, or maybe a streamed game. I really want one, but I'm also dreading the idea of it. What about you guys? Share your most stressful tournament moments in the comments. I'd love to hear your VGC experiences. I hope to see you stick around, there's plenty of more content to come. Bye for now.